Hi guys, and we are live. Welcome to today 28 of the 30-day challenge. My name is Kristiaan, and today I have a guest here. But before I will introduce my guest, let me first play this. Hi guys, and welcome back to day 28. So today I have a very special guest. It's my friend Alex.
Hey,
Alex Koch.
It's great to be here.
So Alex and I, we know each other from Money Hero. Money Hero is a platform where we provide financial information, literacy, and so on, that you can make a good decision about your finances. So if you want to have a look, check it out. I'll put a link down in the description. And Alex was also the moderator and the organizer of the last Cryptopia Coin Summit back in May. It was right, May and June.
Yeah, it was May and I think beginning of June. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a basic conference about cryptocurrencies. And if you want to check that out, I'll put a link down in the description as well. But today we want to talk about another topic. We want to talk about frugalism. So, but before we do that, maybe Alex, just say some words about yourself. What are you doing? I just heard you had a big success yesterday with finishing your thesis. What was that all about?
Right now I'm studying psychology, and I finished my bachelor thesis the day before yesterday, actually. And actually, it was even about an ICT topic. It was about the influence of synchronicity on computer-supported collaborative learning. So it's very nice, and I also want to go into IT. I'm going to study IT in beginning on the 11th of October. So I'm looking forward to that very much. But apart from that, I'm also independent, and I think it's very great to live in such a time where you can put your work into any kind of medium and exchange it with the world. And this flexibility is fucking amazing. Yeah.
That's great. So you're finishing one study and now you're doing another one, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Because actually,
bachelors?
Huh?
Are those both bachelor degrees?
Yeah, right. Because I want to go on to study the master, or it's a psychology. It was a psychology bachelor, and I want to study the master degree. But actually, to finish my bachelor, I need to have an internship, and the place where I had an internship closed down some parts, so I didn't have that internship anymore. So I had to search for a new place, and because of this, I need to wait 1 year to go into into the new round of studying in the masters. Yeah. So I have 1 year in between, and I thought, hey, I always wanted to try out IT and take a look in it, and then if it's something that I like, I can still, while I do my Ausbildung. What's
your
the
apprenticeship?
Yeah, while I do that for my psychotherapy, I can at the same time study IT if I like it very much. So that would be fun.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I guess IT skills are in demand more than ever, right? Because especially with all the IT boom that we're having in the past years. I mean, look at Facebook, Amazon, Tesla, Google, and so on. I mean, today we're on YouTube, right? It also belongs to Google. I mean, the big tech companies, they basically own the majority of all the applications out there. And I guess having some IT skills can never hurt, right?
Definitely. Also, I think the term information age is very important, because it doesn't just mean the kind of technology we use, but in general, there's many physics theories that place information on a in a very important position, and that say that it could be even more important than matter, basically. And
wow.
It's fucking interesting. I have no idea about physics. I'm just interested in that kind of stuff. So probably I'm not the best person to talk about this, of course, but it's very interesting. I think if you think about it, that a light switch, for example, is a little tiny computer, because it can have binary states, and that basically a calculator is just many light switches, and a computer is just many calculators, and so on and so on. That just really amazes me a lot.
Definitely. Yeah. You're talking about the information age, right? Sometimes you hear these quotes that in data is now more valuable than gold or oil.
Definitely.
Right? Because the one who controls the data actually can do the analysis and can do predictive programming and all these kind of things. Yeah, very interesting, especially for marketing purposes and so on. I guess when you have your Facebook page on, all the ads that you're seeing are probably totally customized based on your personal user behavior, right?
Yes, it's fun, crazy. Like also the stuff we talk about and stuff. I think Instagram is even better at this, because like I myself, I'm not really that much into consuming stuff, but stuff I see on Instagram, it is still appealing to me. Like I'm, yeah, it's fun, crazy.
So they are doing a good job.
Definitely, like not everything, but let's say like even if it's just 1%, when I go outside and there's like advertisement everywhere, I never have like the urge to buy something. But when I'm on Instagram, just for like, let's say 10 minutes, I find at least three kind of things that I'm interested in at least. And I click on one link per month or something like this. But yes, they're doing a crazy good job.
They definitely do. Yeah, so today I'm just going to share my screen because I find something very, very interesting at the moment that I'm reading. And that is this amazing book, Frugalismus, Raus aus der Sklaverei. So Frugalism, Leave Slavery, the genius finance strategy for your immediate retirement. and the author is you. So actually, I'm currently reading this book. It's really, really good stuff. Like by reading it, I really realized that I myself am a frugalist, although without knowing it. But all these concepts that you're describing, they totally appeal to me, and I'm even more excited to continue reading and actually put it into action. So I want to ask you, what was your idea to start this book, and what is frugalism all about?
First, thanks a lot, seriously. Okay, so basically the concept of frugalism is like, it basically is a shortcut for explaining stuff that normally would need a few sentences to explain it. Like, I think for the English speaking people, the term FIRE, like financial independence, retire early, might be familiar. It's basically about, it's basically nearly the same, but in Germany, there's kind of a different culture, so it narrows it down a bit to the aspect of money saving. But okay, let's begin from the start. So the thing is, minimalism is a nice thing, I suppose. Like you can see that it's appealing and that it's working on, like for example, if you look at the success of Apple, and minimalist design is everywhere. So also, it's kind of helping to feel relief, because otherwise stuff can stress you a lot. If you have a lot of stimuli around you, it can stress you out and just like not really enriching you, but drags you down. Like the stuff that you possess also possesses you back, basically. And that's one aspect of it. The second aspect is like it's reducing stuff that you don't need to make up more space for everything, basically, because stuff that you don't need but still buy, first it takes up place, it takes up space, it also takes up space in your head, and also it takes your lifetime away, because how do you receive money? While working, while not only giving your power, because I think giving away power, that's an okay thing, because you can learn in the process, but at the same time you're losing this resource time, which is getting more and more and more valuable with time. so it's getting more and more valuable, and frugalism is like a trick to turn this thing around, because the thing that also does the same kind of, is it spiegelverkehrt, or is it like reverse?
Depends on your webcam. Probably it is.
Okay,
on my side, actually, it's not reverse.
Okay, no, but let's say the movement, of course, of resource is down. It's going down when it comes to time, but you can use this kind of time in the complete opposite direction while investing. And basically, the combination of, okay, I don't need that much stuff. What I need is my free time and options and flexibility. You can combine it, and you can say, okay, All the stuff that I don't need, I just don't spend money on it. Instead, I can save a lot of money without reducing like my standard of living, my personal standard of living. And then I can invest it. And then time is working for me, of course, all the typical stuff for investing. And on Frugalists, invest long term. So it's just, the goal is not, okay, I want to like triple my money in a year or stuff like this, but it's just like very conservative investing. Basically, it's being, okay, I'm investing in ETFs, and going the long-term way, maybe some cryptocurrencies, but just like 10 to 20% of the portfolio. And then of course you will get your like annual 8% basically, or 10% or 12%, something between that. And because you can save so much, for example, if you earn, if someone earns just like 5,000, like that's very good in Germany, and
Euro,
not in Switzerland, but in Germany it's fucking good. And the average German saves up 10% of the stuff, of the money they earn. So
€500 a month.
500 euro a month for a person that earns like 5,000.
That's 5,000 after or before tax?
Oh shit.
Before tax, I guess. Huh?
I guess even before tax, but just let's steelman this argument by making it after tax. Okay, so after tax, he saves up 500 euro a month. But if I, for example, would just like work half time and probably just like earn 1,500 and 2,000, just a very normal average, then, and I just need half of the money, I can take away 1,000 easily. And I mean, at this time, if I invest the money, I do much better than a person actually earning 5,000. And that's very fascinating to me, because even if some person is not earning much, the person can achieve a lot, like basically the same as someone who's investing. Of course, not as someone who has that much money that you can invest in real estate, stuff like that. But yeah, so that's the idea, that you don't need to be an entrepreneur or a star investor or all this kind, or base your whole life around this kind of stuff, but just have a very chill life and still know, okay, it's going well, and in the end, I will retire very early. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, what you're saying is very interesting, because I read one book some years ago, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, where he always says, it's not important how much you earn, it's important how much you save. Because let's say I have a salary of like $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, like an incredible amount of money. If I spend $30,000 every month, I'm saving zero. Right? So basically, it's important how much you save in the end. And I find your approach very interesting, because it actually means that you don't have to earn more money, you don't have to save more money, right? I mean, I'm an economist. I'm an economist. I studied management economics in the past. And there's actually a concept called MPC, marginal propensity to consume. That means the more money you earn, let's say you get a raise by 10%, you will probably spend 5 to 7% of that 10% on new stuff, like going to that fancy restaurant, buying the new fancy car, going on vacation to a 5-star hotel instead of a 3-star hotel. So probably you're spending the majority of what you actually gain in your salary increase on new stuff. So actually you're not saving much more. You're saving a little bit more, maybe 3%, but not 10%, right? Is that also your observation?
Yeah, yes, definitely. I think there's even like, probably you know better than me, but there's much theory on that already, and data that indicates that. And also what is interesting, actually, many people say like, okay, money doesn't make you happy, but it actually does, of course, because when you have money, you can solve problems much more easily, just like very easy. And on that also reflects like psychological data. For example, like if you just take one indicator, just like luck. Okay, actually that's quite hard to measure, and there's like much criticism and rightful criticism about this kind of concept and studies. But just take it as a general tendency. There was like a study, I don't know what's the English term, but it's like in German it was called Glücksstudie, like study about luck, basically.
Happiness study, probably.
Yeah, and it's a very popular approach. where they said, okay, how much goes your happiness up with the money you earn, and they put it together. It's basically like a correlation curve, which shows when it stops making you much happier, and that's when you earn about 6,000 to 8,000 euros a month, and that's very good. Not that many people in Germany will make this. In America, probably they will, but for example, Switzerland, of course, that's like that's nothing there. But so the thing is, but it makes you happier and it gives you much more freedom, and it's good to take that with you. But at the same point, after that, there's not that much stuff that you can buy that makes you much happier. And also, you can just take the Pareto principle and think about, okay, 20% of the things that you have, that you do, that you think about, make up your life quality and make up the good thoughts and the bad thoughts and all this kinds of stuff. And then if you want to take the essence of your life, then it has not that much to do with consumerism. That's probably a part, especially if it creates moments that you can enjoy and that you can think of and be like, oh, wow, that's amazing to have this moment. But making that kind of moments not dependent just on money or with a little dependency on money, I think that's a skill that's very good to learn. That's also why it's like compared to Stoicism, like this very basic philosophy, basically. That it doesn't affect you, because if you're able to be happy also without much money, you don't give a damn if there is something horrible happening. And you don't panic, because you know, okay, even if I'm down on the ground and I'm basically losing everything, I can live a happy and good life.
Exactly.
And at the same time, a misconception that there's very often is like, okay, so people who want to live this lifestyle want to live a very plain and boring life. But the thing is, you can always add up more consumerism or more money spending if you want to, but just not being dependent on it, that's the important part of it.
Exactly. I think what you're saying is very important. So I watched a video from Tony Robbins some months ago, and where he's saying like, more money, more property, more wealth, whatever, will not make you happy if you're not happy in this very moment, right? In this moment right now, you have to be happy. Otherwise, you will never be happy, even with like millions or billions of dollars in your bank account, right? I mean, look at people like, for instance, Tony Robbins, right? What was his name? No, sorry. What was his name now? William Robbins, no? The actor.
The actor is Robin Williams, I think.
Oh, yes. I'm confused. We're talking about Tony Robbins and we're talking about exactly. So he actually committed suicide, right? Although he had everything, he was a super nice family dad, had so many Academy Awards, success in with humorous stuff, comedies and so on. And he hung himself because he made everybody happy instead of him, right? So basically, it shows you that you have to live in a happy place. You have to be happy yourself. Otherwise, more property or more money will never make you happy.
Yeah. Also, like probably that's a bit more rationalistic and cold approach. But basically, if you have many things that you need, you're dependent on this kind of things, and there's more stuff that can go broken, because like, I mean, that's the same as, like, for example, if you would have like a very, very, very huge family with like 100 members, then there's always like some person who is getting sick, some person who is close to dying, some person having trouble, stuff like this. And just imagine having all this kind of stuff that you're possessing or that you're carrying with you also. There's some stuff that can enable you to have nice moments, to feel better, to have a good time that is actually useful. And that kind of stuff is not like it's dragging you down, but the rest is dragging you down. And to really take a close look at how you can minimize stuff that you use, that you have in your daily life, just down to the stuff that fulfills your needs and your original needs that come from inside and that don't come from outside. Because there's always like whole marketing right now is not working by presenting features, for example, like saying, okay, the screwdriver is driving at this kind of power, but instead it is selling a lifestyle, it's selling a feeling.
Exactly.
And it's always made psychologically this way that it appeals to basic needs. For example, social interaction. Like then there's like, I don't know, a happy family, and the man is I don't know, like building up a house, and everything is wow, very nice. So they're not selling a screwdriver. They're just selling like social life, happiness, family, and
Exactly.
that kind of stuff is the important thing, I guess. And to achieve that without money, without consumerism, puts a lot of stress away.
Exactly. It's crazy what's going on in our day to day. You know, like 2 weeks ago, I was walking here in a local supermarket, and I couldn't believe it. But actually, they were already like putting out all the Christmas cookies and all this decoration for Christmas, which is, guys, we have summer, right? And it was summer 2 weeks ago, and now you're putting the Christmas decoration already on the shelves. That's how crazy it is, right? Other example is Black Friday in the US. If you look at like people are fighting over like getting the biggest discount, right? Then they're smacking each other in the face just to get the best discount. And I don't think this is a very sustainable behavior that we have in our society today.
Yeah, I think so too. But at the same time, as it comes to like Black Friday, I think that's kind of an adventure too. I mean, it's basically you have some kind of hunt. Like really, I think because in our society there's this kind of elements that that were there many hundred years ago, or even just like 100 years ago, like this kind of going to hunt for something, and this kind of heroic kind of fighting style. I think that's missing in nowadays lives, and it's going down to this kind of consumerism stuff. And I think it's very exciting. I think that's also part of the fun, not only the I'm stupid and I just want to discount, and that's why I'm risking to, I don't know, get a broken leg by trying to get a PS5. I don't know. That's
exactly.
I think that's also behind this thing. But so I also don't think that consumerism itself is that stupid, or I'm not looking down on it. I just think it's not useful for myself in this kind of position. And same with like Christmas cookies, for example. I would just like see, okay, it's basically sugar. I don't want to put it because long time, like short term, that's like a moment of enjoying stuff. And if you use it in the right way, for example, like even if you drink alcohol, like wine, red wine or something, you can create nice moments with it. And I think that's worth it for. But for example, if you have a whole package of cookies, the first one, you will have this very nice feeling if you put it in the right situation. But after the third one or fifth one, you can also stop. You won't get much more satisfaction from eating more. And on long term, that kind of behavior will make you live shorter, will make you sick, and all this kind of stuff. So I think it's very important to look at this and take a look at where you want to stop. And and be an active individual that doesn't want to get dragged by its outer world, but just takes decisions independently.
You said that very nicely. So what I wanted to tell you, let's go back to the FIRE approach: financial independence, retire early. So what actually this approach is so counterintuitive, right? Because if I tell my friends from college that are now all like having these top management consulting positions and are somewhere in investment banking, when I tell them, I'm a frugalist, I'm a minimalist, I don't need all that kind of stuff, they just shake their heads and say, but you need a job, right? You need a job to pay rent and so on, and all these kind of things. And don't you want to have this nice Porsche one day? I said, yeah, it would be nice, but I don't need it, right? I definitely don't need it. And what I can see is people are totally stuck in the hamster wheel because the wheel is spinning faster and faster, and they cannot leave it, because especially when you're working in consulting or investment banking, you'll always see someone, a boss or a superior, saying, hey, if you stay for 2 more years, we're going to make you an assistant director. And then in 4 years, you might be an associate partner, and then you will be partner, and then you've made it. Then you make the big bucks. So my question to you, Alex, how do you break out of this whole cycle?
Yeah, I think the first step is like really not putting it down too early, like nothing, okay, how to say that, like not being like, okay, I know that's stupid, I just leave it, but really think about it. Like probably that's even a thing that you want to go for, what you described, and probably you want to take that experience. just to know that it's nothing for you. I think it's important to like at least try out something before you put it away. But you can also do this kind of thing in your head. You can like imagine, okay, what would it be like in this kind of situation? What kind of situation it's that I already lived through is kind of similar to that future, and then like simulate this whole process for yourself in your mind, and then you will see how you feel about it. And our intuition is very, very good because it's taking up a lot of data, like data that is not passing through our consciousness like very actively. And it collects all this data and puts out something that is often very right. And that's not some kind of magic, even though it seems like it, but that's just basically very complex calculations that drags you in the right direction in situations where it's not only rational factors that play a role. So basically, okay, there was a fucking long sentence again. But to make it short, I think it's important to not be too ideological about it and be like, okay, that's the good thing, that's the bad thing, but really go through yourself, reflect a lot on what you want, what are your authentic inner like needs, where do you want to go. Like, I mean, even in like the path you illustrated, even that can be very beneficial if you do it like for 3 years, for example, and then decide to go into retirement. I mean, that's also possible.
Yeah. Absolutely,
the good part is you can, as you said, like if you don't want to be in this kind of spinning wheel, you just need to take out the parts of you that can get easily dragged into it, like a magnet basically. And this kind of parts are mostly like artificial needs that someone outside told you that you should have.
Exactly, yeah. Because I always ask myself, am I living my life or somebody else's life? Like who tells me that I have to have all these designer clothes with a nice Ralph Lauren thing on my shirt or the Gucci handbag for my girlfriend? I mean, who tells me this? Probably the media and advertisements. Or why would you spend 3 monthly salaries on your engagement ring?
Yeah. Only. That's a genius story. Did you or like I also mentioned this in the Frugalism book, actually, this kind of story.
Oh, I haven't read it yet, but probably I'm coming to that point.
Because it's very funny that you mentioned it, because really? Exactly that kind of example is in there. Because
no way.
Before it actually was just like 1 monthly salary, and even that was just a marketing stunt. Like the whole engagement ring with diamond is a marketing stunt from De Beers, because they had like the majority of the diamond market. And they were like, oh shit, no one, like it was in the financial crisis, like in the 1920s. And they were like, okay, fuck, no one is buying diamonds now. Shit.
Yeah.
And people are selling diamonds, and that makes them cheap. And that makes us losing our position and poor and fuck. So they thought about the strategy. And the strategy was, okay, we need people to like buy diamonds, but never sell them. And how can you do this?
Okay.
With a mythical story about true love is basically just the love with a diamond, just the love with the product we sell, that we have like 60% of the market, or I think even 70 at this time. Yeah. And then I did this, and then I said like, okay, if you love your wife, basically buy her a diamond ring that's at least worth like 1 month's salary, as you mentioned. And then it worked perfectly. And a few years later, because it worked so perfect, they said, okay, buy one that's worth 3 months of salary. That's how it went to this thing. And it has nothing to do with love, basically, because like, why? I mean, probably even if you go with it, that love is there with like 1 month of salary, does it make sense that love is just there with 3 months of salary? I mean, if it changes so quickly, the inner meaning of it probably is very disrupted.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all marketing, right? I mean, marketing always touches the emotions of people. I mean, marketing is super, super interesting. I also loved marketing and when I was studying business in college. But in the end, sometimes I have to say that certain things are on the brink of being immoral, because people are being, let's say, pushed into debt. Actually, they're taking like a loan or something just like be able to afford the super amazing ring for their fiance or something. Yeah? And that's also an issue, right? I never want to be in debt, and luckily I'm not. But I know a lot of people that actually took loans for their study programs. I mean, in the US, it's a common place, right? Everybody is taking a big loan to attend this private business school or whatever, and they're basically paying it back for over 10, 20, 30 years, right? So I like your book title because it says like free yourself from slavery, right? And I think the slavery, like of paying these debts off, definitely is like holding you back in a way.
Yeah, I think it's, as you mentioned, I think it's much more relevant in the not German speaking space, because in Germany people don't have many debts. Of course, they have debts also a lot, but not as much as in the US, for example. Also because the politics is different. But in general, I think it's not that much a thing here, but it will become also a thing in Germany. But this kind of debt is like the extreme version of it. But even if you're not in debt, probably you're a slave to your own needs, and that's always the case. But the question is not if you are or if you're not, but it's a question to which needs are you a slave right now? And if it's needs that you can stand behind, I think you can't say that saying in English. In German, there's a saying that's called like standing behind something. If you really are, how to say that? Shit.
Support something.
Yeah. But also really identify with it. And if you really think, if you really say that's my thing, so
to totally back something, to immerse in something.
Yeah, that's a very beautiful word. Yeah, shit, I lost the path here again. What was it about, actually?
I forgot as well.
I got it.
You got it.
So I think very like some of the needs you have, like for example, self-fulfillment, flexibility, you're also kind of slave to this kind of needs, but it's stuff that empowers you.
Exactly.
But for example, if you have an addiction, that doesn't empower you. It's also a basic need. It's about, you're a slave to this kind of need, but it won't bring you further. And also, if you take a look on it long term, like drugs short term might be very nice, but long term, they won't really help you. Like except for like magic mushrooms, for example, or LSD, but apart from, or DMT. But apart from that, if you have an opioid addiction or alcohol addiction, or if you smoke cigarettes, or even if you are dependent on coffee and can't get out of bed without it, that is not beneficial for you. And you would also say, hey, I want to get away from this. And you would want to say that very much for alcohol and just a little for coffee. So probably like coffee is right, the sweet spot where you can accept this kind of dependency, but there's things where you shouldn't accept it and that you can replace. And yeah,
it's super interesting. Addictions is also a very, very important topic in everyone's life. Everybody has some kind of addiction, either it's something food related, or it's a social media addiction or something, right? Or I have to buy like the newest handbag or the newest edition of the iPhone because when it comes out, I'm camping in front of the store because I need to have it. And all these addictions, they also like, they block yourself, right? So getting out of slavery also means like getting rid of your addictions and actually living a free life. Actually, speaking of items, actually another book, maybe you also know the story. When you buy a new item, let's say I buy a nice car, a Porsche or a BMW, after around, I don't know, 1 or 2 months, it will not make you happy anymore because it's already there, right? So it doesn't make you happy. You need like a new stimulus that actually increases your happiness again. However, they found out in some study, I can't remember which one it was, but in some study they found out there's only one thing in life that you can buy that actually makes you happier on a long-term basis.
Yeah.
I probably know it.
Yeah, it's breast implants.
Exactly. So at least the women are happy every day to have bigger breasts. But apart from that, it's mind blowing, right? Nothing else that you buy has an impact on your life, a positive impact, because everything gets boring. That's why, for instance, I love shopping secondhand. So most of the stuff that I buy is secondhand.
Same here.
Same here. I guess so. So Alex, I wanted to show you something else. I'm pretty sure you know those guys here, the minimalist.com.
Oh, actually, I don't.
You don't know the guys. Okay, so Joshua Fields, Milburn, and Ryan Nicodemus. They are the guys that made a movie about minimalism on Netflix.
Ah, okay.
Super. Do you know this movie? Super amazing movie. And I watched it at the time when it came out. I think 15, 16, 17, sometime around the time. I watched a movie and it was mind blowing because I have never seen such thing before. Because those guys are actually talking about how happy they are with living with less items and just like going on a tour through the US, promoting the book in every bookstore. And it was just mind blowing. So actually I started like my own challenge to reduce items in my closet. So I was taking all my clothes on a pile and then see, okay, do I actually like this item? Okay, no, toss it out. Because there's so many maybe items. Even today in my closet, I would say probably 80% I don't wear on a daily basis. And so there's so many items that are just clutter that is in your life that you don't really need. So what's your experience with minimalism and how many items do you have? Do you travel with hand luggage or not? And would be very interested in that.
Yeah, I think it's very nice that you also have this kind of experience. I think that's kind of common for everyone who does it basically. Mm-hmm. And that's also like a trick. Actually, I don't know when I started it, probably when I was like 12 or something, because I was very obsessed with the design of Apple. And then I was looking behind the concept of it, which is, of course, it's actually a kind of an easy concept, but to take this concept and really put it onto stuff that is not just like direct digital design, for example, but like your actions or like, okay, to have an easy example, for example, if you have, if you're plotting a movie or a book or something, and you want to write amazing stuff in there, but it can be amazing, but if it's not necessary for the plot, you should always put it out. And that's how all great movies and books are made. There would be even more content, amazing content, but if it doesn't like fit to doesn't make it more round, then people always toss it out. And you can do the same with your life basically, and also redesign that. Take this active design approach, not just on situations where it's about designing something digital, but like on actions, on gestures, and that will increase the meaning of everything you do or think about, basically, because meaning is like building. It's basically some kind of order, I guess, and it's like negative entropy is like information basically, and entropy, if you like. Of course, I'm not a physicist. Yeah, not physician, but physicist. Yeah, right. So I'm not an expert on entropy, but to make it very easy, I think it's like this kind of state where everything is not in order. Everything is like in a room, for example, stuff automatically goes into chaos. And I know that's not a physicist. The real physicist explanation of entropy, but that's the easiest way to illustrate it in daily life. That stuff goes out, and the actual work is to put it into order. And the same with meaning. It's like if everything is like just going through you. For example, if you are a little kid, you have so many kind of senses that stuff appeals to because everything is new. That's complete chaos, and I think that's also why it's hard to have like a complex life meaning when you're a little child. Do you have so many things that interest you? That probably it's a very nice lifestyle, but but I think as an adult, if you want to make up sense, it's very important to like just make order to this chaos and for example, like counting your stuff, how many items do you own? How can you reduce them in a way that makes you happier and happier and happier? And at the end, it leaves you with just the stuff that you really love. And that will automatically make you happy, because otherwise you decrease your chance of actually dealing with the stuff you love if there's much stuff in between. So yeah, it's a very passive way, actually. Like, you have one active action where for one time you have 3 hours where you sort all this kind of stuff out, and the rest of the time you passively just enjoy that there's an increased chance of having contact with stuff that you love.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the observation is amazing. So when I threw up my clothes at the time, I felt so much better, just like giving it back, dump it somewhere to charity. Not dump it. Actually, it was nice clothes. They were nice clothes. I gave them to charity, but they were out of my life, so out of my life, and I had like much more headspace, and I didn't have to think about all these clothes, because even like, imagine you wear these clothes for once, and then you have a pile of clothes laundry for like, and you have to run 5 machines. Definitely know that you have too much clothes, right? So it was a very freeing moment, and since then I'm always like, when I'm buying new stuff, I'm always thinking, do I really need this item in my life or not? Like, everything that has a value, for instance, a microphone, a cool camera, and so on, that's stuff that I use, right? But otherwise, I don't need all that clutter in my life anymore. Actually, in Switzerland, we have a second-hand shops called Brocki, and you can just go there and give them all the stuff, and they actually sell the stuff like to people that want to buy it. So it's pretty cool.
Very
and
nice.
I give so much stuff away every time I move. I'm basically giving, let's say, at least a third of my items that I like clutter around. I give them away because I don't need them anymore.
That's very cool. And you also talk a lot about traveling, like with hand luggage, for example. I'm on team hand luggage, obviously. And I think I traveled like 1 year through Asia, like whole of Asia, not just like this very big cities, but also like very rural areas and stuff, like, and really enjoyed it. Also because there this approach is enforced by the situation, just because people are poor. So but at the same time, the elements that are there are so important, and people really enjoy it a lot. And I think it's horrible if you have no other option and therefore have to do it. But if you yourself have more options and try that kind of lifestyle out, this poor lifestyle basically, that is freeing you, because you don't feel this dependency. Oh, I have no choice, no other way to do this. And actually, this kind of lifestyle is, I think, evolutionary speaking, kind of healthy, because like most of the time that formed us to the species we are, basically, we were moving around, seeing new stuff, but not really carrying much stuff with us. So I think that also has a meaning until today. So I think that's also why the digital nomad approach is very nice.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, funny you're talking about the digital nomads, because I was on a nomad cruise like 3 years ago. It was an amazing experience. And actually, I'm going in 8 days, I'm going to Cyprus to another nomad event. And there you also have people. Yeah, it's amazing. If you want to come, join us on this event. It's going to be really mind-blowing, and you will have a lot of cool talks and networking going on for sure. I tell you that. And anyway, so basically, I'm also traveling with hand luggage for 2 weeks, and not a big deal for me now. But at the time when you have the option to actually check a bag at the airline, you always think, okay, so now I have the bag, so why don't I fill the bag, right? But in the end, in my life plan for 3 years ago, I actually said I'm traveling with hand luggage whenever I can, and actually now it's happening, because the airlines are charging me for the bag, so I'm not paying that price anymore. But it's actually much more freeing to have less things, and so I can really encourage everyone to just do it. And actually, those guys from the minimalist.com, they actually have a challenge where they said for 30 days, or was it 30 or 40? I think 14 days. Every day, throw one more item away. So first day, throw one item away. Second day, throw 2 items away, and so on. And until you actually reach day 14, when almost everything that you have is gone, because you have to test out more and more stuff. It's very interesting. Amazing. So, but Alex, let's go back to frugalism. Yeah. So what are important techniques used in frugalism? So when somebody's interested in frugalism, how should he or she get started with frugalism?
Yeah, like basically, I'm most of the time I'm talking on very abstract kind of stuff. That's because that's stuff I really like to think about. I think that actually takes up important space on it, and that's also why I wrote the book, for example, because for me it's more about like very abstract concepts, that once you get it, and once you think them through, and if you like it, then you automatically will apply it in your life, because basically, because if you know what you want, it's hard to undo things that are good for you, actually.
Yeah.
So I think it's as stupid as it sounds, but I think this kind of mindset thing, and basically really setting up your mind, not only having a mindset, but setting up your mind actively and designing it. I think that's actually the most important part. It's also why it's very frustrating. For example, if you see a lot of documentaries in about frugalism, especially in Germany, I think that it's kind of a very German thing to narrow stuff down to the most boring daily parts of it, and
Yeah.
I think it's very important to actually not do that. Don't be like, okay, where can I save money? That's not a good approach. The good approach is to really look inside yourself and be like, okay, what makes me happy? What helps me? And if I do that kind of thing, or if I buy that kind of thing, how will it affect my life in 20 years? And there's like three options. First is like, it will have a very positive effect even in 20 years. Okay, then buy it. Definitely buy it immediately. And second option is, it won't have a good effect. Like, it will just like be very bad. For example, if it's like some alcoholic drink that's out of context, not like in an enjoyable context where you create a very special situation with a very special person, for example, or with friends, or a thing that you will remember in many years. And it will just be a thing that I just drink it and that's it. Then it won't affect your life positively. And so you can toss that away, and it's easily to toss it away, because once you think of it long term, you don't really feel dragged to do it anymore, because it loses its sensation, because the sensation is only in the moment. And yeah, and you can increase your happiness also in other ways when you're right in the moment. And the third way is just like, it will do nothing, and then why bother? Then you can just like leave it away, because if it doesn't enrich you, why should you spend time or work or money or whatever on it? So,
Exactly. Yeah.
so I think that that's important. Yeah, and also what's the second thing is to really treat time as the valuable resource it is, because a misconception that there is very often is like that people who follow frugalism or FIRE or whatever, or in general who save money, are stupid because they save money. Why? What if they die? Like, I mean, what if they die, or what if they like save money in the happiest of their years, and then spend it like 40 years later and won't enjoy it?
Yeah.
That's such stupid way of thinking, because actually, like, first thing, if you build up your life on the premise of like dying every day, then why not just like shoot some heroin in your veins every day, or do coke every day? Because hey, if you die the next day, why bother?
Exactly.
Like, or why not spend all your money, or why not go outside and do something forbidden that you always want to do? Like, so that's no way to live your life.
Exactly.
Basically, you could say, yeah, and then you could say, okay, it's not meant this way, it's meant this way, like, enjoy your life. Yeah, I think that's the idea behind it. And I think it's a misconception to think you can just enjoy your life if you spend a lot of money. I think that makes you very dependent, and also that makes you passive, because you don't think, okay, I'm living my life actively, I'm basically an active individual, but you define yourself by being passive. And the same way with like, for example, if you say, okay, he's wasting his most precious years, why thinking, okay, that the 20s are the, or 20s or 30s are the most precious years? That's not a biological standard. Like, of course, the biological standard that once you're 70 years old, it sucks a lot more tendentially than when you're 20, of course. But apart from this, like, all between like 20 and 50 or even 60, if you do sports and have a nice say, like, have nice diet and everything, it's basically, there's always chance to enjoy your life a lot, and it doesn't really drag you down much more when you get older. But what people talk about is actually because in the 20s, normally they do studying, they have a lot of free time, they meet a lot of friends, they're not in this work hassle. And that's the active decision. That's not a passive thing that just like comes onto you and forces you. And that people treat it like it is a thing that they can do nothing against it. That also is like this kind of slavery concept, even though slavery, of course, is like a very, how to say it, like controversial word. Yeah. And it also just chosen for marketing purpose, of course.
Absolutely.
but it's a very important picture, and I think it's important to activate this picture. Yeah.
Absolutely. Actually, there is what you said about like using items and so on and like saving money, and tomorrow you might be dead. I think it's super important not to forget to enjoy and live in this very moment, right? If you say, okay, I'm gonna have this amazing 5-star dinner in like 5 years, when I made it, 5 years might be dead. Actually, when there was a time when we were still sending emails around, like say these chain emails, I think in early 2000s, there was a very, very inspirational email at the time that I still remember. It was about a husband who was married to a wife, and the wife passed away after some time because of cancer. And then he opened the drawer in the bedroom, and he found a very old, like a dress that the wife saved for a special occurrence, like to go on a nice dinner or a nice trip or something. And she says, yeah, one day I'm going to use that dress on that very special day. And that special day never came, right? Because now she's under the earth, dead. And that actually makes you think, right? What do we actually save stuff for? And all these items, the maybe items. So many items are lying around. For instance, I know, like for instance, I have a pocket knife. Okay, this is actually handy, But actually I have 3 pocket knives. So why would I need 3 pocket knives?
At the same time.
at the same time. Okay, they were all gifts actually from companies, and this actually was of my father. He even I engraved my name on it. So he's a Christian here.
Oh, I see.
That's pretty cool, with an iron. It was a hot iron cut. How do you say that in English? I don't know. Lötkolben.
I don't know.
Anyway, so what I want to say is there's so many items in this household that I still have that are maybe items. So will I ever going to use them? Like, I don't know, like the 5th or 6th spare tire for my bike. Yeah, of course, your bike might break down, right? You might need it. But in the end, if that happens and I really run through 5 tires and replace them and come to the 6th tire that I don't have anymore, I can just go to the shop and buy a new one, right?
Yeah. So that's very important. Actually, that's also now it's becoming a bit more practical, because I'm always in this kind of abstract stuff, and probably that sucks to a person listening. I don't know. I like that kind of stuff, but not everyone's liking it. To you. But thanks. Also, same for you. Like when I talk to you, it's very energizing. I really like it. So, but in general, for example, if you have a cup, like how often you drink out of more than 1 cup at the same time? Probably never in your fucking life. And so the next thing is, okay, so, but most people I think have on average, I don't know, like 10 to 20 cups or stuff like that, or even more.
Yeah.
And then the second point is, okay, but if I'm having guests, okay, and then how often do you have more than 20 guests at the same time? That's like, if you want to, you can make a list and be like, okay, how often does it happen? Probably like, I don't know, 1 time in 5 years, stuff like that. So, and you can do that for every kind of object and be like, okay, and then you will know after a while, okay, for example, like when I have guests, I very often like just say like once a month I have 5 guests or more. Okay, that means I need like 5 cups basically.
Yeah.
Done. And if there's like, for example, if there's like 20 or more guests, the chance is very high that you won't have enough cups to like supply all the guests. So you would buy like kind of this paper cups anyway. So Yeah, so for this once in a lifetime moment, you don't need to buy 10 more cups or like have them in your drawer, because then you will need an additional drawer for all your stuff. Cupboards, sorry,
Exactly.
cupboards.
Exactly.
And yeah.
If this maybe moment arrives, right? Yeah, maybe I will have one day 30 guests, and I don't have 30 cups. I only have 20 cups, and then you think, oh yeah, let's buy some more. And
wait a second. Wait a second.
Sure.
I just need to inform the person living with me. Okay. I'm back.
So they didn't want to come on the live stream?
I don't know. She needs to pass that room, so probably you will see in the background.
Okay, cool. Involuntarily live on YouTube. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I want to tell you about, actually you talk about physics. Actually, I want to talk about mathematics, because actually you have these standard deviations, right? One sigma, 2 sigma, 3 sigma, and so on. And you have these confidence intervals, which go from 68% for 1 to I think 97.7 for 3 sigma. And if you think about it, how often are you outside of this confidence interval? So this one time that you have 30 guests instead of like the 20 guests, the chance is so slow. The chance is so small that actually this will occur, like let's say every year or every week, right? Versus like having 1 or 2 guests.
It's amazing that you put that in, because like as a economist, of course, you use that kind of thing, because I think it's very handy. Also in psychology, you always use that kind of stuff. Also in biology, I think, because basically in psychology, it's very interesting, because all kind of psychological happenings are linked to biological happenings, of course, because we are biological beings. So that's why this kind of how do you call it? Like Gauss?
Yeah, Gauss is the name. Gaussian normal standard deviation.
Yes, the whole thing you call it like not a standard deviation.
The bell curve, no?
Bell curve, yeah. The bell curve. I think it's like such a universal principle that accounts for so many things, because we always have to do like with probabilities in our daily life, and that helps us really to illustrate it. And I think it's a very good idea of you to implement it on that kind of case. Yeah, I think it's
absolutely. Actually, for all our listeners that don't know what we're talking about, or are we geeks? So this is the bell curve. And if you calculate the percentage, if you combine this, you have like 1 sigma, 2 sigma, 3 sigma, and the chance that if you have a confidence interval of 97.7 that you actually go beyond these borders is so small. So if you're saying like that, it actually happens very often that you have maybe like 1 or 2 guests over, so you have like 1 or 2 cups in your cupboard, right? But if you have, let's say, 30 guests, it might be an outlier somewhere over here. So it barely happens. And for the day when it happens, you can still like go to your neighbor and say, hey, can you borrow me some cups? Can you lend me some cups? I have many guests over. Please help me out here. And that's the thing with these maybe items, you know, like you might have, let's say, a repair kit for, I don't know, for your boombox or whatever that might never break. I'm just saying, like so many maybe items that actually I still have in my household, because you think maybe I need it one day. But I would just say live in this moment and focus what you actually need every day. Okay, so I need this mobile phone, very handy device. I need my iPad, also cool device. My computer, maybe my credit cards, and that's it. My backpack. But all the other items, when do I use them? Probably almost never.
And that's where the magic comes in. I think it's very good that you talk about this, because to me it's the form of magic that you think about. Like basically you just need 1 credit card, and then you can materialize an idea within just like a few hours. That's the power of the information age. Because for example, like even let's just do how to call that Gedankenspiel,
like a thought experiment.
Thought experiment, yeah. Let's do that for the occurrence of, oh shit, I don't have enough cups, and there's a party starting in like 3 hours or like 5 hours, whatever. And probably you could even go on Amazon Prime and do this kind of how to call it, like this free trial for Amazon Prime, and get it delivered within this 5 hours. And you could buy like 10 cups, and then they're there. Like, even that emergency, if that occurs, that you just find out like 5 or 6 hours before the party starts, you could still solve that very easily.
Exactly.
So yeah, or otherwise, like, okay, then you could use glasses instead of cups at the same, like, for example, just improvise, and you can do that for so many occasions.
Exactly. When I look back at my parents' household, my mother has cupboards full with different plates for different occasions, right? For Christmas, different ones, for Easter, different ones with different designs, and it's all very beautiful, right? But do you really need them in your life? I would guess, speaking for the frugalist, with the minimalist, you probably don't.
And I think it's also important to not think about it, having many things is stupid, or looking down on it. I think that's very important, because back then, when this kind of habit emerged, it was very useful and it made sense, because back then, like most of the time of human history, it made sense to, if you have the chance to buy an item, to just do it and to save it, because it was not an everyday thing that you always had a chance to buy everything. Like, that's just like kind of the information age before the
industrialization.
Yeah. Before that, it was even much harder to do that. So it really made sense to like stuff all this kind of put all this kind of stuff in your house. And back then, you really had a house because you needed so many things just to keep yourself warm and whatever. But now things that get invented by humans are so efficient and so multifunctional that you don't need many things. You don't need a radio because you have a smartphone. You don't need a camera because you have a smartphone. You don't need anything basically because you have a smartphone and a credit card. And for example, like if I don't have a home, as long as I have money on my credit card, I could easily go from place to place, go to cheap hostels for like 15 euros a night or stuff like that. Or even be like, okay, I'm buying, like if I'm fucking poor, basically, okay, probably that's like, not fucking poor, but if I'm, let's say I don't have much life savings, I could basically spend like about $300 on a flight to Thailand, for example, and live there on like 300 euros a month.
Yeah.
And live there quite good, actually. And yeah, that would also work out. Of course, I need money for that. But even with
the flight,
yeah. But
once you're there, it gets cheap,
Yeah, definitely. But that's also a thing. Of course, if you're really poor, like poor, having no cent at all, that is no solution. But if you're feeling like your life is taking away, like you have too much stress and you have no options, you have a lot of options when you have money, and that's the good part of it. And that's why money is so interesting for the minimalist approach, because it's just data. It's just data that you can like that's saved on your name, basically.
Yeah.
So you just need to be yourself to summon this kind of money power and materialize every kind of thing you can think of in a few hours.
Exactly. Actually, I remember when I traveled to the US for the first time with one of my best friends. We only had a backpack, I think 2 pairs of underwear and 1 pair of socks, and that's it. And then we bought everything over there, because the clothes were just much cheaper than in Germany. All the cool stuff that we wanted. At the time, I was like totally into designer brands. So I wanted to buy all the cool Ralph Lauren stuff and so over there, Abercrombie and Fitch and whatever. And it was so much cheaper than in Europe. So we ended up buying all that kind of stuff and brought it over. But in the end, what you said, we had a credit card, right? With that, we withdrew money and then we could just buy whatever we wanted. And I think it's super interesting what money actually is. Because money is nothing else than energy, saved energy, work that you did sometime in the past and that you cannot transform into something else. So money is neither bad nor good. It's just like it emphasizes your character as well, right? And I find it so interesting because, let's say, I want to live financially independently in the future. And I have, let's say, an amount of money somewhere piled up. With that money, I know that probably, let's say there's no inflation and stuff, that with that money, I can probably live a happy life ever after without working one more single day. If I just, let's say, accept maybe like a lower standard of living and don't have that Porsche and that Lamborghini in front of my house, but I can actually live my life in freedom. And that is much, much more important, because money doesn't actually make you happy. But I think money is a means to achieving freedom, personal freedom, that I can actually wake up in the morning and say, hey, today I feel like going for a walk somewhere in the mountains. For instance, I don't know, somewhere here, this is somewhere in the Swiss mountains. My girlfriend took this picture last weekend.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Huh? It's like paragliding.
Very cool.
But basically, if you're stuck in this hamster wheel and you have to go to a job to make ends meet, you can never decide, hey, today's Monday, let's go to the mountains. Because I believe in self-determination and freedom. So every morning I write down on a piece of paper, I live freely and independently and self-determined. So I want to live life on my own terms, and that I can only do with money. I mean, of course, I could be somewhere, let's say, in a self-sufficient camp and only eat fruits and stuff, but I don't want to live that life as well. I want to live a life with the quality of life that I want to choose, and to do the things that I want to do. I want to do the things that I want to do. So, and that's actually, for that I need money. So money buys me freedom, and that actually buys me some form of happiness, satisfaction.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, you're already living the dream.
So actually, before we come to an end, we're talking for almost more than an hour now, right? Crazy.
Yeah.
I want to ask you one thing, because on YouTube and other channels and blogs, I always see one technique that many people that have the FIRE approach use, which is called the 4% rule. What's that all about?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think like 50 years ago, people did a study on like, okay, if I want to live independent life and not work a single day in my life again, how much money do I need? And not in this way of, okay, I save it and that's it. But if I invest it, and they really did a study on it, a long-term study. I think it was like going on for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
I think it started in the 50s until the time I was born, so like 1998, I think. And in all of this time, I think that's even 50 years. Probably it started a bit later. But at least 30 years they did this kind of study. And they invest the money, 50% in Anleihen is
bonds.
In bonds, yeah. In 50% in bonds and 50% in the American
stock market,
the S&P 500. Yeah, in the S&P 500. And that's, let's say that's not even a good portfolio, because why having bonds in there? Bonds is, that's another topic, but let's say that's not even a good investment. But they found out that shit.
Take your time.
Yeah. It's kind of hard for me to explain that in English right now. Okay. 4%.
Bonds, stocks, S&P 500.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, it's called the Trinity study, and the thing is, how much money do I need? Wait a second. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm back on track now. Okay, so the idea is putting the money in and then just waiting, and then just spending the money that you get from your investments. You don't use up the money you paid in at the beginning, but you just take out the
interest.
In Rendite. What is
the interest?
Interest.
Yeah.
You just take out the interest every time, and and you can take 4% of your interest safely without ever risking to to have the money gone. For the end of your life, you can spend 4% every year and have no problem, even with taxes and stuff, and even with actually a very basic investment strategy. Probably it's even like 5% that you can take out, and that's not kind of made up. That's from actual data that they did. Of course, you can just like take it on like this the time it happened. We don't know if it is like this in the future, but actually since the currencies like the US dollar, the euro, and basically every currency in the world is getting fucked up a lot.
Inflated, yeah.
Inflated and fucked up a lot, like even just within the 2 years of COVID pandemic, the dollar is like they printed, I think, like 55% of all US dollars ever printed, and US dollars have a huge history, and like I think 40% of the euro or whatever, but that's not as horrible for the euro because it's just there since like 20 years. But that is like I think that the future of investment, like you will get even more interest actually than in the past. I can't say that for sure, of course, no investment advice, but I think it's more probable that interest rate increases than that it decreases. And if that's true, you can and you have a basic investment strategy, you just like need to put 5% out every year. So that means take it times like 20 times. You need 20 times the amount of what you spend in a year and invest that kind of that money, and then you're free.
So let's say, how much money do we need a year? Let's say in Switzerland to pay my rent and have some food on the table. I would probably need around, I would guess $3,000 a month. Times 12, so I would need 36,000 francs a year. Okay. So that's times 20, you say, yeah?
Yeah.
So that's 720,000.
720,000, yeah, and that's for Switzerland. But what if you change it up? Like how much can you earn a month easily in Switzerland?
I would say a normal salary after tax, before tax.
After tax. After
tax, take home money. I would say 5,000 to 6,000 Swiss francs. I think okay. Let's say you work at Aldi as a cashier. I think you take home 4,000.
Fuck. Okay, sweet.
Out of francs, so let's say 3,500 euro, something like that.
Okay. How much euros is that?
I think 3,500 roundabout.
Okay, let's say you have very basic jobs. Okay, let's make it with like 4,000 euros. How much could you probably live off in Switzerland if you live frugal? Like, for example, for me, I can live in Germany on like, I think 800. Yeah, 800 a month. Yeah. 800 to 1,000 a month easily. So, so how much do you think you can save in Switzerland?
So let's say when you're single and don't have kids and stuff, then it's much cheaper than when you have kids, because when you have kids here, it's very, very, very costly. Every kid is like actually luxury. But let's say you're a single guy living in a shared flat. Like the cheapest that I've seen so far would probably be around 600 francs for a room. It sounds a lot, right? But in Switzerland, actually, that's cheap, because usually a room starts in Zurich, it starts at 1,000 Swiss francs above. Yeah. So let's say 600 francs plus food, probably around 800, I would guess. Plus health insurance around, let's say 250, or let's say 300 to be like realistic. 1,700. What else? Let's say miscellaneous costs of 300. So I'd say like you could safely live with 2,000. But if you maybe squeeze that down by, let's say 10% or 20%, but let's say 1,600, that would be the bare minimum, I would say.
Did you spend or save?
That you need to do spend every month. Okay,
but let's make it like let's have it as a worst case scenario. So you have 2,000 spendings and 2,000 that you can save every month.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just assume, okay, you work for like I don't know, 15 years in Switzerland as a cashier.
Yeah.
So 15 years, 15 times 12.
I'll calculator so I can help you out.
Oh, yeah, so that would be nice.
15 times 12.
15
times
12 times 2,000.
It's 360,000.
360,000. Okay. So now imagine you move from Switzerland to a place where you have another kind of standard of living. Like let's say even to Germany, for example. Let's say you live in Germany for like 1,000 a month. Okay. So that means let's do that. 1,000 a month, 12,000 a year, 12,000 times 20. That's
240,000.
240,000. Okay. So if you work for 15 years as a cashier in Switzerland and then go to Germany, you don't need to work a single day in your life. And that's even Germany. That's even also a high standard of living.
Yeah.
And you can do that easily. You could even like just work probably 10 years as a cashier in Switzerland, and then that's it.
That's it. Then you're a made man. And now imagine you're going to Thailand with that money.
Yeah, no, imagine that. And also at the same time, I mean, just for example, I want to work until I'm dead, basically, but work in a position where I want to work, actually. But so I don't plan just because I could afford retirement, basically, to actually retire. So I will collect money, and you will also collect money because you will always find some project to work on, and because you have more flexibility, you probably even have a bigger money intake, because if you have more flexibility, you can take jobs that you really like and that have a higher risk, like basically higher risk of not succeeding. But if you succeed with that, you're making big money. That's also a thing that works. And you do the thing that you really love, so you can put much more like energy in it and much higher quality in it very easily. So you will earn more money in general, I think, or at least have more time or earn more money, one of both. And to combine all this and make a life out of it, I think it's a wonderful option to just like to be able to do it this way. And I think that's amazing. And I'm very happy to live in a time where that's possible.
Absolutely. I think you speaking again of the digital age, I think our parents didn't have all these possibilities, right, that we have today, like starting an online business, selling stuff on Amazon, or offering courses on Udemy or something like that, right? So I think the internet is absolutely a game changer for everything. Now we can see you again. you were gone for a second. I think the internet is a total game changer for all these business models. And on my channel, I'm also talking about business, right? Business, motivation, and life. And definitely business is a big part of our lives. And what you said is so inspirational, because you want to work, right? Because people that are frugalists, or let's say minimalists, whatever, it doesn't mean that they don't work anymore. They actually are working probably harder than the average person out there, but they're working on stuff that interests them, not on stuff that your boss tells you to do. Actually, yesterday I made a video about burnout, what a burnout is. And spoiler alert, burnout is when you work on the wrong things, when actually somebody tells you, do this, do that, gives you commands, and you say, okay, boss. I do all that stuff, but in the end, it makes you sick, because you have this resistance inside yourself. You don't want to work. You don't want to do this, because actually it makes you sick and tired. And I find it's very, very, very good. And one of the biggest inspirations for me to become financially independent is as well to choose how I want to live. And that also includes how I work and what I work on. Because today, actually, I can choose who I want to work with. I want to work with you, Alex, among other people, some of the great minds out there. And I don't want to work, let's say, in a corporate environment where basically I'm being told what I have to do every day. And that actually is the freedom when you are like financially independent. You can actually choose who you want to work with. And beforehand, that's basically impossible, because you actually have to go to a job. You have to work because you have to pay bills. And that's unfortunately a very, very sad reality, but that's the reality for most people that are probably watching this video today. I hope that you're all financially independent, but probably the probability is that the majority of people that are actually out there in the business world are not financially independent, and that are actually just working because they have to, because they have a family, they just bought a new house, they bought a new car, they have to pay all back the loans and stuff, the mortgage. And yeah, this actually is slavery, coming back to your book title.
Yeah, and the thing about this, basically what puts it apart from slavery is that actually it is not coming from the outside because of some unjust fulfillment, but it's coming, you enslave yourself, basically. You're a slave of your own consumerism in this part. And consumerism doesn't mean this kind of, someone buys fancy stuff, but consumerism in the broadest kind of terminology, the stuff that you consume, that you take inside of you, like it can be thoughts, it can be needs, and
media.
Just some of this kind of this consuming is good for you. And it's also like it's a normal thing of living to consume stuff, because that's like we're made out of matter, and to keep our structure going, we need to put consume. We need to put like
Food to
water in
bodies.
our
Yeah.
body, food, all that kind of stuff. And
Yes.
for example, to work, we need to upload information in our brain, very complex information to make the work more valuable and all kind of stuff. And consuming is a very natural process, and to think about and to take the negative aspects of it away on purpose. I think that's in general very important. Like even if you have no interest in living frugalistic or whatever, you can still take that approach and optimize your life with it and with ease and have fun doing it.
Exactly. Yeah. So inspirational. Your whole story and everything you taught us today, Alex. Is there anything that you have on your heart that in your mind that you want to tell the audience before we wrap up the session?
Just that I'm very happy for everyone who's like listening all until this time, and I'm just very happy to talk to you. It's very fun.
Absolutely, it's the same goes for you. It's very inspirational to have you on my channel, and I hope we catch up soon.
Sure.
Okay, guys, and we hope that our little talk inspires you to take action and to strive for frugalism and minimalism and fire financial independence, retire early. Okay, guys, so now take action and see you tomorrow for day 29.
Thanks a lot.
Bye, Alex.
Bye.